Hello peoples! In today's video we're still in the Arrow, and this is part 2 where we are testing different weapon builds, specifically different guns. I have 3 builds for you to look at today using scatterguns, cannons, mass drivers, and rocket pods. The link for these builds will be in the video description below. If you like what you see in the video, then check it out, give it a try in-game. Come back, leave a comment on what you liked, what you didn't like, what you changed, all that good stuff, so that people can learn from your experience, not just mine. At the end of the video, if you liked it, well, you know the drill. Please hit the like button, the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. This is where I tell you to get a drink and a snack, and for a snack I'm thinking donuts. Yes, specifically Krispy Kreme donuts. Oh, yes. And if you don't know what a Krispy Kreme donut is, well, I feel sorry for you. Sit back, relax, let's see how we do. So the first build we're going to look at one that I've featured in the past here, and it's probably my favorite build, or one of my favorite builds, where we're using scatterguns, both laser and ballistic. As you can see here, we have a Valkyrie for a target. They're kind of tough, which is good, but as you're going to see watching this video, they don't last long. We've already stripped the shields out of this guy, and what we're going to do is slow the video down a little bit. You're going to see here that we get a really good lineup right here on it, and we just unload. We don't even have to use the ballistic scatterguns. The Pyroburst took it out. So what we're going to do is move on to the next target, which is going to be a nice juicy Warden. So for anyone that's a little apprehensive about using scatterguns, they're not that hard to use. They're actually pretty easy. You've got a wide area that you can hit. So what we're going to do is slow it down a little bit. You can see that we've hit the Vanguard several times with our laser scatterguns and stripped the shields. We're now in a position where we can add in the firepower from the ballistic scatterguns. We get a really good lineup right here, and we just unleash. There you go. He's done. Just like that. We didn't use that much ammo either. If you look at the Havocs, we're at 94 rounds out of 100. First time we've had to use them during this entire fight. So here's the question I can hear people asking, but Tyjacks, this works great against a big ship that's less maneuverable, but what about a faster, more maneuverable fighter? Well, number one, we're dealing with an Arrow here, so I don't think you're going to find too many out there. Maybe a Gladius, maybe a Buccaneer. Trust me, it works just as good. I've used this in Xenothreat, I've used it against multiple targets, and it just hits really hard and takes them out. So what we're going to do is slow this down. You're going to see that our range is below 300 meters. We get a perfect lineup. We let loose with everything that we got, both ballistic and energy weapons. And look at that. We just melted that Vanguard like it wasn't even there. So hopefully you'll give this a shot. Now what we're going to do is move on to another build that if you don't like the shotgun build, you may like this one. This is using FL-33 cannons and a Sledge. Now, mass drivers used to be at the top of their game a long time ago in Star Citizen, and then they kind of fell from grace. And when you look at Urkel, the DPS that is given doesn't really seem to do it justice. Now, I was turned on to this by a subscriber named Murphy, and I'm glad that he turned me on to these because in practical use they actually work very effectively, and when paired up with cannons or even scatterguns, they're devastating. I don't know why Urkel has given them such a low DPS score, because they seem to do a hell of a lot better than what would be suggested by looking at Urkel. So give these a shot too. Let's see how they do. So this video is the second VHRT mission that I was using these sledges on, and as you can see we're in the 80s now from a starting pool of 120 rounds. So you've got a decent amount of ammo when you consider that it doesn't take very many hits to destroy your target with these mass drivers. And remember, these are size 1. So what we're going to do is slow the video down. We get into a really good firing position here. We're going to hammer away with basically the laser cannons until we're sure that we're going to hit with the sledges. And here it comes. There goes the Sledge. 2, 3, and 4. Boom. That's it. That's all it took. And there goes the Vanguard, the first target in this mission. Now, I'm not discounting the heavy hitting of the laser cannons. They obviously are a primary damage weapon, but these make great secondaries. Now, as far as going against a more maneuverable target, we've got a Drake Buccaneer here. So what we're going to do is slow it down. You can see we get a really good angle. We're firing off the sledges with that white bluish light that you see, and hitting. and basically killing the Buccaneer very, very quickly, I might add. Now, they are a glass cannon, but I would say that was pretty fast. You do have to hit what you're aiming at, though. Now, just in case you missed that first one, we've got to repeat with a second Buccaneer. Now, this guy's going to be a little bit more squirrely, and that's fine. Take your time. Don't fire your ammunition-dependent weapons when you think you may miss. Use your laser cannons. That's what they're there for. We're going to whittle this guy down a little bit. We've already stripped the shields. The other thing that I want to point out here that I haven't pointed out yet is look at my speed indicators. Now basically what I'm doing is I'm dropping my SCM speed to keep this guy in front of me, to keep him from getting behind me so that I can get the angle like this. I can hit him really hard. What we're going to do is swing around again, and there's the perfect picture. We've got him right where we want him. Boom. There he goes. It's as easy as that sometimes. You know, sometimes it just lines up for you. So that's going to do it for the laser cannons and the Sledge. Now this next build that I'm going to talk about is kind of a special one-off. Not everybody's going to be able to do it because basically what we're going to do is use the Scatterguns and the mass drivers, but we're going to add a little twist to it. So if you have a Mustang Delta, you have access to the Jericho rocket pods, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to put Jericho rocket pods on our arrow. They will allow you to do it. The new Urkel that they're working on will be able to put the rocket pods on. Right now Urkel doesn't let you do it, but as you can see, you can definitely do it. Now the rocket pods are dumb rockets for people that don't know. They just fire straight. So what we're going to do is link these to our Sledge mass drivers up on top. We're going to use our Pyroburst like we've been before to just basically strip the heck out of the shields and then do a lot of damage. And then only when we're in a good firing position will we fire both the mass drivers and the rocket pods. You only have 18 rockets or so, so they are going to run out, but they make for some really, really devastating alpha damage, as you're about to see. Now you can get these on the Mustang Delta, like I said before, in-game. That's the cheapest way to get them. But you can also get the rocket pods if you own or purchase the Vanguard Harbinger, because they come installed by default on the turret. I would go with the Mustang Delta because, well, a couple things. Mustang Delta really, really cheap in-game, so you really do have access to it. Two, it's actually a pretty decent fighter. It's got 4 guns, pretty hard to hit, and does pack a punch way above its weight class when you factor in these static rocket pods. So again, the rocket pods are dumbfire. You fire them just like a regular ballistic weapon. Alright, you don't need a lock on or anything like that, but you do need to be in close, which is why they kind of pair up pretty good with a scatter gun build like we have here in this example. Now the first target, this Valkyrie, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to save my rocket pods and all that stuff for another target because I want to try some different camera angles here, see if we can get some decent shots. So I'm going to use basically my laser scatter guns, the Pyroburst, to take out this target. I'm going to switch to this view here, kind of give you a different perspective. A little bit harder to hit this way because I don't have a target pip, but we're going to see how we do. Kind of like it. Well, that was kind of a cool, interesting perspective. I might have to use that one again. So we're going to go after the next target, which just happens to be a Drake Cutlass Black. These have been beefed up a little bit in 314. They were a little bit more squishy, I think, in 313. But for this build, not going to be much of a problem. So what we're going to do is just hit them a couple times with our scatter guns. As you can see, we've already damaged them pretty good, blowing off a stabilizer. If we slow it down, we get a really good angle. We start firing the ballistics, which are the mass drivers and the rockets. Those little secondary explosions that you see there, those are the rockets. And as you can see, that Drake Cutlass did not last long at all. We're going to do a repeat performance because we have yet another Drake Cutlass Black. Let's change the perspective on this and see what it looks like from that angle again. So you can see I'm firing off my ballistics here with the Jericho rocket pods, and yeah, it doesn't last very long. So that was a pretty good example, I think, of this build. I think that's going to do it for today. Let me know your thoughts on these different weapons in the comments section below, and don't forget to check out the builds using Urkel link in the video description. If you're new to Star Citizen, you'll also find a referral code in the video description. It'll allow you to get 5,000 free UEC when you open up an account. As always, till next time, take care.